issues across Nigeria's socio-economic and political landscape. My name is Esther Machu. Thank you for joining us on this live. I'm quite impressed actually to be here with you. There's quite a lot going on in Nigeria's political landscape. I would implore you to please let's be circumspect with the conversation that we're going to be having this evening. One of the things we want to look into is concerning the recent Trump situation, very recently, and we're getting a couple of updates from supporters of this government and those who think that this government and their supporters are really literally taking advantage of the propaganda and not telling Nigerians the truth. Okay, and then obviously you saw what transpired on Saturday, northern Nigeria, in Kano. They decided to go on a rampage and they were protesting. To them, they believe that the whole Trump situation is what they will consider to be a little bit troubling, and they think, according to them, they feel that it's a deliberate means to supposedly wipe off Muslims. And so a couple of them who were not properly informed decided to go on the streets in Kano on Saturday, burned the US flag, and also burnt a caricature of US President Donald Trump. Now, the question is, why did some certain individuals take it upon themselves, deliberately decided to distort the public, distort some persons who do not really have accurate access to objective information, twisted the narrative? And this is what we're saying. Okay, so it's a very sad development. We're going to be looking into it today on Estic Media Live. So please kindly share, subscribe, and be part of the conversation this evening. Now, if you have been following the trend, actually, the government of the day has literally been trying to divert the attention of the fact that there is really potent insecurity in the country. Daniel Bala has been visiting several media outlets internationally, trying to clear the narrative that there is no Christian genocide. According to Daniel Bala, he believes that the insecurity cuts across all the regions and not particularly to one particular region. Before he traveled, Danibola alleged that it was IPOB that went to the US and created the narrative. The BBC also did an investigation and alleged that Inter-Society provided inaccurate data, unverified data to the US government, and that was basically how they came to the conclusion that the country of particular concern, which Nigeria was designated as by the US government, was being engineered by certain people who have ulterior motive. Dele Alake, the Minister of Mineral Resources, I think, Mines, and yes, I think Minister of Mines, said that it was certain persons who decided to create the narrative that it is not the real truth. And he says there are opposition elements who are not happy because they did not win the 2023 general elections. We now decided to go back in time. And what was that? Back in time in 2013, 2014, thereabout, the APC as a government actually traveled out of Nigeria. They went to the US. The brothers then US Secretary of State John Kerry. They brought him to Nigeria. They negotiated to bring back our girls' development with US President Barack Obama at the time was hugely politicized, which dwindled the support and cognizance of Jonathan's government. They paraded Jonathan's government as a government that was very weak. They paraded Jonathan's government as a government that had no insight. They paraded Jonathan's government as a government that had no direction. They paraded Jonathan's government as a government that was very corrupt. So that was how the APC won that election, and it worked. The propaganda actually worked. So how come it feels abominable that certain persons are playing the same script that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the time as an opposition played? Okay, what is your accurate statistics that it is IPOB as you allege, or an opposition as you quote, that is peterobi? Is it not the truth that there is insecurity in the country? What is the accurate information that you have provided? And then what are the efforts that you put in place to ensure that now that Trump has said what he said, he didn't tell you he was going to invade. He told you if you don't do anything about the insecurity in the country, he will definitely come in. In other words, it's a warning. Do something about the insecurity in your country, otherwise will come in. Also, the US has designated some organizations and certain persons as persons of particular concern. There is a possibility that they will impose sanctions on them. Mieti Cattle Howdy and the Mieti Cattle Breeders Association are the organizations that have been placed under a watch list. They're going to be monitoring them to know if they need to have access to the US. Okay, so these are the organizations they feel are supporting the terrorism in the north. They feel that the Sultan is a voice that could actually publicly condemn the activities of the extremists. But the fact that they have been quiet about it means that they are liable, they are connected, and they are part of what is going on, or their silence sanctions the atrocities committed by those people. The Sultan has said that's not the truth, that they try to condemn it as much as possible, but the insecurity is not targeting the North or targeting Christians. It is all and sundry, including Muslims. Now, that's not the only thing that is quite peculiar. They also believe that the situation with Trump could cause a Christian or a supposed religious war in Nigeria. That's the kind of information or they're regurgitating that everyone is consuming. Now, in the whole midst of all this conversation, what is the opposition doing about it? What is the means through which they're taking advantage of it to supposedly put the government of the day on their seat? It's been complete silence. Is it possible that Bola Ahmed Tinubu really does no opposition because they are afraid to confront or say anything? Or could it just be that the administration of Bola Tinubu is just 2 years old, still a baby, sort of, and they are being careful not to do anything that would seem like they planned from the onset to destabilize his administration? Or is it possible to give the administration of the president time to do what he needs to do? Others believe that the president should not be afraid, that this is a time for him to call out those who are committing this evil. He should not care, he should not condescend, he should not bend the knee, he should stand up front, be assertive and authoritative, and say, you know what, my government is going to rout out these guys. We don't need a Trump, we just need to actively be potent in dealing with these guys. So there is a difference between talk and another thing with action. Now, the question also is that with the just concluded Anambra elections, the peterobi has lost relevance. Is that true? He lost his polling unit to APC, and Labour Party really did not do well at all. So what happened? What is going on? Is this a factor to determine how the 2027 elections will go? If Peter Obi does eventually disclose the political party he intends to run with, does he still have that clout and the political weight, the natural love the Nigerians had for him in 2023? We'll be looking into this as well. Mr. Tony Bata, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm fine.
Okay, yeah, please say Mike. Very good. Now, you heard my intro.
Yeah.
What's your take on what we have discussed then?
First of all, let me read something from Bola Ahmed Tinubu official Twitter handle. He says 2014, 29th of January. He said the slaughtering of the Christian worshippers is a strong condemnable. It calls for question the competence of Jonathan to
It's strongly condemnable.
condemnable. It calls to question the competency of Jonathan to protect Nigerians. This your president. Your president.
Our
now.
president.
Yes, you are president. You are president. Saying this, recognizing,
Okay.
believing, or saying it that there is a genocide, that Jonathan is not doing anything. Now we saw that the same 2014 too. We saw them, Buhari meeting the then
US
US
president
president.
in 2019, they're about
So,
2019 or 2018.
all these things now they are trying to change the narrative because they want to win the election, because they want to create an impression that this thing is no longer happening when it is happening. We are seeing that it's a way to tell you that these people, they don't like it. They don't love this country. They only love themselves. They want themselves to be there. They don't mind what the poor masses are passing through. And if I said it before, that if anybody tells you that the APC government will give Nigeria what we want, that person is true. So is Nigeria being killed? Yes. Is Christian being massacred in this country? Yes. So this is the truth. Anybody going anywhere.
If you do a percentage of Christian genocide and Muslims, according to Bayo Nanoga, he says that genocide affects more Muslims than Christians. If we were to look at it, if there's
like
meant to be calculation,
Nanoga is not people that will be talking. Nigerians will listen. These are people that can they see truth, they change it.
Daniel Bala has made the same statement.
Him too,
Garba Ahmed,
okay, look at
Garba Ahmed has made the
check-
same statement.
check
He
these
worked
people-
under Muhammadu
check
Buhari.
these people that you are calling their names now, the people that can say this is why tomorrow they will change. It's now when you call former aviation minister, what's the name?
Femi
Fani-Kayode. You call Wike. You see, these people are people that you cannot. They are not even people that you can put Nigerians will
Is there
trust
a
them.
deliberate means to misinform the people?
Yes,
You saw what transpired in Kano. I was very shocked to see this person's born because I thought somebody would warn them. It's actually treasonable to burn any country's flag. The US themselves impose a law on anyone who actually burns the flag. And even in Nigeria, if you burn the Nigerian flag, you're committing a heinous crime. It's a very serious crime. Now, they burnt the US flag. They also burnt a particular caricature that represents Donald Trump. Do you think this would deter the US if at all they actually have it in mind to do anything?
It will make the US to do even the worst.
No,
Let- let-
don't
the worst.
don't say the worst in regards to.
do more. Sorry
Okay.
for using the word. They will do more because they know that these things are truth. What they are saying.
Some Nigerians
So,
have called
that-
for them
see,
to haste. That how long is it taking them to? You do know that the president has not said anything. He's been trying to have a dialogue with them, not directly though, but through some other international allies, diplomats as well, whom he thinks can speak into the ears of the U.S. president. But is it about speaking into their ears? Is it about making false, creating a sense of we have it in hand or we're in control of it? From the fact that we are yet to actively see what you intend to do about it ever since your country has been designated as a country of particular concern and referred to as a disgraced nation.
listen, let me tell you three things that are happening there. The US government, remember that any money that international community or all these people give to you is not, they are not for that Christmas. They are there to make their own money. Nigerian government is here to make their own money. Some individuals are here taking this thing to make their own money. Coming to US, they have all the facts and figures of what is happening in the country. They know that these things are happening. Christians are being slaughtered. All these things, they know it. And they're going to take it and use it to their own advantage. Now, the US government, any money they spend on this issue, they will recoup it. They will take it even 20 times of what they are giving you. So, then US is coming to help Nigeria is not only for their own loss, it's for their own gain. Now, Nigerian government and people that are buying election want to use it for their own selfish aggrandizement. They will make money out of it, and also they will make cheap relevance out of it. In the sense that I told you before, I allege that this insecurity, that government of the day, if they want to stop it, they will stop it.
Yeah, you said
And I say some certain individuals are making money out of it. And even all this Buhari that is happening, kidnapping, killing, Chibok girls, we know what happened. A certain governor came out and cried. They know they stage managed these things when Jonathan was there in order to outsmart Jonathan. So they know what they happened. And they not themselves derive joy in impoverishing their own people in order to use them as a political tool to get something. Almajari, Rankadede, they believe in that oligarchy government. One person will have it all. Every other person will come and bow down for him so that they can use this as their own tools. So these are some of the things that is happening now. The US have every details of information and killings that are happening in this country and other countries of the world. Do they have the power to deal with these things decisively? Yes. Now, what are they going to do? Is to call your president. Your president
to call our president.
Okay. If it is it is my own fundamental right to, even though
Mr. Tonimbata, he is your president.
He may be your
you are
president.
within the confines of Nigeria right now.
The majority
You're still working with the constitution.
The majority will have their say. The majority will have the
Are you a minority?
I'm a minority.
You're a minority.
People like us believe that Bola Ahmed Tinubu and APC did not win that election, and it was the judiciary and the INEC that gave him that. So you can't deny or take away what I believe. It's my belief. He's your president. I don't see him as my president.
Well, that's quite unfortunate because
it's
when
not.
you are going to
Until
cry
when you
out,
do the right
the person
thing.
you're going to make reference to is President Bola Ahmed
Is
Tinubu,
you are
whether
maintaining
you
of the
like it or
Federal
not.
Republic. I'm not disputing it. I'm not. I cannot. But for
Okay.
me, I don't see him as my president.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I would say the live is actually a very short one. But what is your take based on this? Is this a time to politicize issues, or is this a time to call out the government to become proactive, not reactive? Should this be the period for propaganda, or for the period for true reflection of how politics has divided the nation, of how politics has decided to not focus on governance but focus on self-aggrandizement? Has it also been a reminder to the government of the day that the people know the truth? It's not like before that you create a narrative that is untrue and they absorb every information that you give them. And then, secondly, or number three, or number four, there are certain persons who have been dividing the polity for political interests. I'm speaking about the fact that if you go on social media, you will hear Igbo must go. We don't want them anymore. Those of you in the north, I just want to remind you that we see you. If you keep claiming or telling the US that there is a Christian genocide, well, that thing that you guys claim is happening will eventually start happening. We have the DSS watching these persons, watching their tweets, and they're not saying anything, not one word, to counter the narrative or to distance themselves from the narrative of disunity and frailing of Nigeria's fragile connection. We're in a very fragile state. Unfortunately, the government of the day is not focusing on that. They're rather politicizing everything. Right now, every conversation, every talk is being looked through the prism or the lens of ethnicity. And it's wrong. It's terrible. It's dangerous. At this point in time, Nigeria cannot afford to deliberately get itself involved in a political atmosphere that is hostile towards every Nigerian. And this is also calling to the fact that you cannot determine people's reaction to their experience in the horrible hands of these terrible agents of darkness. In other words, reactivate, become activated in making sure that the lives and property of Nigerians become the priority of the government. And you also understand that as an authentic, if you need to authenticate yourself as a government, then you must prioritize the interests of the people you're in charge of, regardless of their political, ethnic, or religious affiliation. The government has failed in the regard of protecting lives and property. They have been completely lackadaisical and nonchalant. They have distanced themselves from the reality on the ground. They are mainly focused on themselves, their pockets, and how to share the financial largesse that belongs to all Nigerians to themselves. So when you completely isolate the people for your own personal aggrandizement, you cannot ask them to work together and speak in one voice for you. That is just the honest truth. So we are asking you, the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, prioritize the interests of the people. Don't play politics with this. Stop dividing the polity more with your data boys and supporters. Just do what you're supposed to do as a president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And obviously, with our military, like it's referred to, which obviously they adulterated the strength of our military with politics, but wake them up to their responsibilities. A lot of our young soldiers have died in the war front. That's and for nothing when they know those who are responsible for the mayhem, but they deliberately let them to continue their mayhem. You look aside, you invite them for negotiation. What country negotiates with terrorists? What manner of conduct is that? That as a president, you watch governors, you watch senators negotiate with terrorists. Why? On what grounds? And in what way has it created any form of peace? In what way has it resolved anything? So this is basically what we should be discussing. My name is Esther Machiko. Mr. Tony Bata, thank you so much
Thank you.
for joining me this evening
Thank
on
you.
the live. I sincerely do appreciate that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be seeing you next time. Please subscribe, like, share. I beg you. So we can have more of this conversation more often as possible. Bye for now.